coming up on the 70% Podcast.
Let's start making it heard by voting for the right people and putting them in office.
Right.
You know?
Just take a little time on a Sunday morning when you get up, like, hey, what's going on? And,
Right. Just like people are, the 15% on this side is out there burning buildings and tearing shit up, and we hear them. Mm-hmm. The 15% on this side is out there running up in the Capitol and tearing up the Capitol. We hear them. Mm-hmm. Well, now let's hear the 70%. Let's hear the ones that are working every day and going to school every day and don't have time for all the crap on both sides.
Right.
It's time to hear from us.
I agree.
The 70% Podcast with your host, Amy Alexander and Mike Sewell.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 70% Podcast. I'm Amy Alexander.
Guess who's back? Mikey's back.
How was New Orleans?
Forget about it. I loved it. It was awesome. Awesome. I went with a friend of mine out there, and we took a tour of a plantation, a sugar cane plantation, and heard the story. It's a part of the story from the slave's point of view, which I thought was really awesome.
Yeah. How did that affect you? Like, did you? Was it something that you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, or something that like brought up?
Well, I love history in general. So just hearing about the history of New Orleans and how it was, built, and what did surprise me though was how voodoo and Catholicism were a unit at one time. They were one. Yeah. Yep.
I was not aware.
Yep. And there's the Queen of Voodoo down there. I forget her name now. I don't know. You have to ask somebody else smarter than I am. But anyway, so she was part of the Catholic Church, and then she would leave from the Catholic Church and then do voodoo services and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a good time. We did a what do you call it? The tour for the graveyards and stuff like that.
Oh yes, the graveyard tour.
And learned a little bit about that, and then did the last night was the boat. That was freaking awesome. The jazz and stuff,
Okay.
So we had dinner. The food was excellent. Like, if I lived in New Orleans, I would do that at least once a month. I really would. It was that good, and the atmosphere was cool and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Something you save up for special occasion.
It wasn't that expensive.
Oh,
it wasn't that expensive. Maybe I would get tired of it, but I think I would do it at least once a month, or at least if I'm going to impress a date. Come on, girl. Let's get on the jazz boat.
You're not going to take her to PQ and forget your wallet?
Well, it depends. It depends.
I'm never letting you get away.
No.
Anyway. So, yes, you were missed last week. Steve.
Was I? Was I missed, though?
Well.
I mean, did Steve do a good job?
He did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if he did your No Doubt better.
What? That is against the rules.
Well,
no one can do that if I'm not around.
Producer Nate, now we know that Mike didn't listen to the show.
That is absolutely. I did listen to the first half of it.
Okay. All right.
I didn't get through the rest of it, though.
Okay. Well, then don't, if that's going to upset you. Anyway, so see, we were talking about, our topic was elections have consequences, which we are seeing by some of the things going on today. And we know that, everybody's like, oh, the president, the economy sucks right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's the president's fault. No, it's not the president. Elections have consequences. It may not be a certain person's vote per se, or policy per se, or idea even, but when you have a whole bunch of people working for the same team, and then you have some other people that are just by the power of the Constitution and other rules and amendments to the rules, don't have as much of a say, you are going to get their policies. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter.
Those policies are going to come with, like you said, consequences. So the election itself has consequences, but then the policies behind that.
Right.
Go ahead.
So there are several ways that bills get well, there's one way that bills get passed, but how they go through the system and who ultimately, why these bills get passed.
Right.
And mostly it's because of the lobbyists, for sure. But there are other politicians that have been in the system for years and years and years and years, and I'm pretty sure they count on that stuff. And then corporate America counts on them to count on that stuff.
Right.
And then all this money is passing back and forth, not to mention the insider trading that's illegal for all the rest of us.
Right.
I mean, how can you make policy based on, okay, I'm going to make a policy to get rid of gas and make electricity the thing because I'm invested in all of these windmills.
Why is it that us as Americans will allow our lawmakers to put laws in place that exempt them from the law? Why do we allow them to do that?
Do you think that those lawmakers ever outwardly advertise that that's what they're doing?
No, they don't.
No.
However, we know, well, maybe it's not common knowledge.
Well,
Maybe I just happen to know this, that they don't go to jail for insider trading.
no.
Maybe it's not common knowledge. You think that people would be upset if they knew that?
It's not, because they wrote themselves out of that punishment, just like they wrote themselves out of having to depend on Obamacare. They wrote them,
Well, I mean, Obamacare is a whole nother ball of wax. You have the Amish who don't have to participate. Who is it? The Muslims that don't have to participate. Who else? I think Jewish people don't have to participate. They're exempt from Obamacare. From Obamacare, from having to pay from
being forced to have insurance.
Correct. Yep.
How do they get medical care?
I don't know. I just know that they're exempt from that, from being forced to have it.
Okay.
So the only people that are being punished, quote unquote, are the atheists and the Christians.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking of this as a religious topic. Holy shit.
Well,
right.
It's not a religious topic, but I'm just saying, how do you write these laws in place that are only affecting a select few people? It doesn't apply to this person or that person. It's just a law that for this populace or this group.
Right. Well, they don't advertise them, first of all. Like, did you notice that mainstream media only brings up stuff that we are going to ultimately end up fighting about?
Right. The hot topics, the button.
They're never going to say anything like, that we all agree on. Like, Congress decided to vote itself term limits. Yeah, no.
Yeah. And the fact that they continue to get their salary after they're out of office as well.
Not as much as people. Some people don't think that's true at all, and some people think they're like billionaire, whatever. They still get a pension after they're out of office.
Right. But
they also don't get punished for any of this. They're not. None of them are making their millions because they have $200,000 coming in a year from their government paycheck. That's not what's happening. Right. They are getting money. So when these politicians get lobby money to their donors, and they get a whole bunch of stips, I guess we'd call them, to that. Of course, they want to do that. Oh, what do you mean? I can use the state plane or whatever to go to my Virginia house.
Well, that is illegal. They can't do that. Or let me rephrase that. That is illegal, and they shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
Now, of course, there's always ways around and loopholes and all that crap.
Right, because they're the people that create the loopholes.
Right. But to be able to have health insurance for the rest of your life because you served in the United States government.
Well, and I think if you did serve in the United States government for the better of the people and not yourself, then maybe something like that would be justified.
No, absolutely not. Americans can't have it. Why should they have it? Lay people in America can't have those benefits. Why should they get those? But they're working for us.
Right.
Why should we continue to pay them when they're no longer working for us? If I go to work, if I go to a job and I decide, okay, after 20 years, 30 years or whatever, I'm going to leave this job. First off, most people don't get pensions anymore unless you're in the union, and those are slowly fading away completely.
Right.
Okay. So you don't get pensions, you don't get buy-ins, you don't get shares in most companies. Okay. So you have your 401k, and if you don't build that up enough, then you don't have anything in going into retirement.
Or if the stock market crashes.
And you're doing this with your own money. So why should we, the common man in America, continue to pay for lawmakers who, first off, don't have our best interests at heart, and secondly, they're retired, they're done, and lastly, they're millionaires already.
Right.
They don't need it.
That's what I don't. That's like, if you're going to become a millionaire through your work on the taxpayer dollar,
right,
then you should. We should be done when you're voted out. You should be able to take care of yourself, and we should be done with you. Exactly.
There's no reason why, with the amount of money that most lawmakers make, you know, especially on the federal level, you know, there's no reason why the American people should continue to be should have that on their backs to continue to take care of them once they're gone,
right.
once they're no longer serving us, you know.
So they don't get any retirement plan at all. Like, even if they're really good and they're like served from the age of 45 to 65, they should just get a standard retired. They should have their own 401k.
That's what we have.
Yeah, we have some sort of Social Security.
Okay, so here's the thing: you have Social Security that if you take it out,
we don't have. Our
right.
Social Security account is broke.
Well, yeah, there's that. But if you pull your Social Security out early, you get penalized for it. You can leave it in longer, so you could work now until you're 70, where it used to be 55.
Right.
You could work until you're 70. Okay. Which is absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, you could work until you're 70 and get your full Social Security. Yeah. Which is $2,500 a month.
If that, I don't even know what.
It's $2,500 a month.
For your full Social Security.
That's it. Yep. One person.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all you get.
And if you retire earlier, then
you can't go to a what do you call it? Assistant living for $2,500 a month.
No, but if you don't own anything, you end up under Medicare or Medicaid, I'm not sure which, and they take care of it.
Yeah.
And that's the government providing housing for you as you get older.
But here's the thing also. If you do own a house, say you do own a house and you have your Social Security coming in, you're 70 years old, you know, and you have your Social Security coming in and you start, you know, getting sick and ailments and stuff like that. Before you can go into any kind of assisted living facility, you have to sell everything off so that they can use that money to take care of you in that assisted living facility.
Yeah, that's why people put their homes in trusts, because then you can't. There's a 5-year look back period. Yep. But you know, if you are going to rely on government money in order to be taken care of after you don't get a paycheck anymore, and you haven't, say you worked for 40 years and you haven't put your money in a 401k or any investments or anything like that, or there are, what are they called? Long-term care
facility,
insurance policies,
right.
You know, things like that. So then even though they've had the opportunity to make those savings and be able to afford someplace besides where Medicare, Medicaid puts them, then they should not get their house taken away.
I don't think they should get their house taken away anyway. I think that they spent their life, but that's just me. That's my liberal side coming out. You know, that's my.
Oh, and there's not
if we can take care of our lawmakers once they're not in office anymore, then we should have a better program to take care of our elderly.
Right. But we can't afford to do that because our lawmakers are spending all of our money on shit that we don't care about.
We care about or need.
Or that should even involve us.
Right.
Or that we are the only ones spending the money on it. Yeah. Nobody's out there negotiating with other countries to be sure they're kicking their fair share in. You want to talk about fair share?
Yeah. Let's talk about China paying their fair share. How is it that you're going to we're going to take a car from China and pay, 5%, 10% sales tax, but we send a car over there and we're paying 25, 30% sales tax on it? What?
There's so much messed up, and this is again why elections have consequences. From the local level, you know how this goes. Like, if you are bitching a lot about the potholes in your road, in your town, go to a city council meeting and find out what they're spending their money on instead.
Talk to the alderman and
things like that. It's very easy to. Well, not easy. It's not easy.
Nothing's easy with the government.
No, nothing's easy with the government. And there's an 800. There's tons of phone numbers out there. I've left messages on Tammy Baldwin's voicemail or talked to her.
Has she ever called you back?
No.
Oh.
I get letters once in a while just saying that you can tell that she didn't even read my letter because it's just a canned response to any letter she gets in. And I've also left messages on Ron Johnson's phone, and talked to his people, his interns, to voice my opinion. And that's easy. Like, if, everybody you can bitch about anything you want. You used to be able to bitch about anything you want on Facebook and social media. But that doesn't do anything. Like, nobody's going out to these places to see, what people really think.
So what can, a person like myself, now I'm not a big, political buff or anything like that. I know enough to vote for, to look into the people that I'm going to vote for. Mm-hmm. So when, a candidate I think I might like is running for office, whether it be local or national or, local or federal or whatever, I'll look into that person. I'll dig up their past. I'll look at their policies, some of the policies that they're trying to push and stuff like that. But, I'm not... I don't think that, first off, I know that it took me a long time to get there to even start doing that, So it can be
overwhelming.
Yeah. So what do we, what's the quickest, fastest way for me to, first off, find out who's running? Because 9 times out of 10, I only know the top runners.
Right.
The people who are advertised all over the place, those are the only people I know about. So I don't know about the ones, the libertarians or, whatever.
The people with all the money have the biggest voices, and those are and they use psychology. And, a lot of people are going to, if you want to tag me as a conspiracy theorist throughout this show, that's just fine, because I've been tagged as one for a long time, it doesn't even matter what side of the coin it's on. I think about things, and I think about human nature and how people with power treat other people, and I do my research. So, for instance, you can go on to a website called myvote.wi.gov, myvote.wi.gov. And so go to that website, and you can put your address right in there. And it'll tell you who your people are. All right. Or who your people are. Your people. You're the representatives that are getting paid.
So it's WI. So this is Wisconsin.
My vote.
WIM.
My vote. MYVOTE.
Got it.
.wi.gov.
Okay. There we go.
Yep. And
so now I'm here. So the spring. So here's one of the things one of the reasons why we started this show is because we wanted to have the voice of the 70%ers heard.
Right. The people that are just not sure what to do, or that don't think anything can be done, I guess. Don't
know what to do, don't think anything can be done. And then those of us who are sitting in the middle of the 15% on the other side, like, why are you guys arguing?
Why are you guys fighting, and where can I get different information?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, we're coming up on elections in November, and it's time for us to start talking about this and
we're
showing
coming up to elections before November
and showing people. And showing people how to. To look this information up for themselves, and to be able to, to go to the polls and vote for the right people. So I think one of the things that I'm going to do between now and next show is, look up the candidates that are on the ballots. Find out which ones, do some research, find out which ones I think we should be voting. Because just to vote Democrat or Republican just because you're Democrat or Republican has not been working.
It's not working. And I know a lot of people And this is where we're getting into the biggest problem, because they started by pitting us against a red against blue. I mean, it's just like a football team. We got the people on the left and the people on the right, and there are people in the middle that are going to choose a side because they feel or certain things resonate with them from one party more so than the other party. But basically, everybody is spending a lot of time and money to convince you that their way is the right way and they're out for your best interests.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at, you can look at voting records of your Congress people. There are 535 people that vote yay or nay for every bill that goes through.
Right.
And you can look at their voting history and their voting record to find out what they truly believe in. If you are telling me as a candidate that you're all for blocking the Russian invasion of Ukraine, but then you vote on a bill to block us from sending Ukraine any assistance until the public gets a hold of that information, then you kind of can tell who's the bullshitter and who's not the bullshitter,
right.
Basically. And in order to go to to find out which bullshitters you're supposed to be voting for, go to this site. It's called My Vote Wisconsin, and it's myvote, myvote.wi.gov. And you can put your address in, and it'll tell you where
where do you put that at? Because I'm there right now, and I'm looking for that. So I put it in.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Up on the upper right corner where it says military and overseas voters, it's got a special button for you guys. And then it says search by name or search by address. I'd say search by address would be your...
Oh, okay. So I just put my address in there.
Yep. So when you search, put your address in there. Okay. It'll tell you, and then it should say my polling place.
Right.
You can find your polling place. You can click on that. It'll take you right to where wherever you need to go. Mine's right here. Get directions. Okay, polling place hours, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. April 5th is the next election. Oh, what's on the ballot? Hey, my next election, spring election, April 5th. Add to calendar. Oh, yeah, we better do that. Make sure we add to I can do, yep, right there. Google Calendar.
Okay, so in Wrightstown here, you got the Court of Appeals Judge, District 3, Brown County Supervisor District 20. So the judge it looks like he's running unopposed.
Right. So there are potential for, and this is the thing, they're so focused on, and national elections are important too, but if you don't have the people behind them, like if you have a judge, like a super liberal judge or a super whatever, and they're going to go one way or the other.
Right.
Maybe there are 70% of us that want to try to find somebody in the middle that isn't even on there.
Exactly.
I mean,
somebody that we're not seeing the advertisements for and stuff like
right.
that. But even on a local level, so now that I have their names, I can look them up and say, okay, what's this person about? What's that
right.
person
You
about?
can do. Yeah.
I can even look on their social media and see how many beers they chugged last week.
Right. Exactly. You can look at their voting record. There's another website out there called congress.gov, and that basically tells you everything that you need to know about who voted for what bills are out there.
But how do I get to know, my national?
Oh, okay.
I'm doing Congress right now. I'm doing congress.gov because I want to save that one. And you're saying that this particular site is going to help me to see all the bills that were passed?
Current legislation activities. You can even set up...
now, do they have bullet points for these legislation activities, or do I have to read the whole legislation?
Listen to that. See, there's where we are right here, ladies and gentlemen. Reading. Yes.
Well, here's the thing.
There are
how many people are actually going to sit and read this whole thing? That's the biggest problem with
right.
voting today.
I don't know if those
Not many
attorneys
people.
that write this up, because these actual legislators aren't like nobody's writing anything that's sitting on like Nancy Pelosi isn't writing a bill.
Right.
Mitch McConnell isn't writing a bill. They have sponsors and they have interns and all this other stuff. So when you talk about a bill like the first Corona bill, I can't even remember what it was called. 2,800 pages or something. You can't pass that in 3 days.
Right.
And everybody, the problem is these are all.
So these are the ones that on March 15th, all of these bills here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bills that are on the floor today. Japanese American World War II History Network Act.
Yeah, so open that World War II History Network Act. I know some of these things come up on the docket before. So when you want a bill passed, you get it on the docket or what? I'm not sure exactly how that happened, but it's not like everybody's just sitting around today thinking about this act. So it made its way up through the pipeline, and it happens to be out there today.
Okay.
Well, is that really our most important thing today?
Right.
But you can also go through. You can even tag.
Save the Liberty Theater Act.
Save the Liberty Theater.
Okay, so I could go to where?
So you can go to get email.
Okay.
Get email updates. So I have a few.
So
of
you're
them.
set up with that?
Yeah. So anytime there's something that involves there's one big bill out there that involves the Second Amendment pretty heavily, and then when there are any changes to like the Build Back Better plan and things like that, I'll admit I have not read every single page of that.
Did you just hear my eyes roll?
Right? But
Build Back
I
Better.
read nobody. You shouldn't have to read the whole thing. If you just go to a section that applies to you, because it's like a book. It's like, table of contents and all that stuff. Go to a section that applies to you and see if it makes sense.
Right.
And if that's the way that they're explaining it to you.
So basically, the research is not that hard.
No.
You can go in here, you could take a look at something that interests you.
Or that
things that you are passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not passionate about the Japanese American World War II History Network Act.
Right. And
But
I don't even know.
There's nothing. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be involved or doing something about that. It's just not for me.
Right. But you don't know what it is. Maybe it's an act that I don't know. I don't even know. You have to go in there, and at least there's a summary when you go in. So if you click on one of those blue.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Yeah. There is a bit of a summary, but
yeah, so you go in here, you look, you see what's there, or you just get the emails that come in and you say,
and
okay,
you can
these are the
search.
things I'm
So that search panel up there, you can search.
Can we browse by people? Like, can I?
You can browse by a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a menu.
And this is in congress.gov.
This is congress.gov.
Okay.
Yes. So you have advanced searches up in the left-hand corner over here.
Okay.
And then you can do it by Congress. So every 2 years, there's a congressional session.
Okay.
Or each year, I'm sorry. So we have the 117th session of Congress is in right now. So the next one would be, so you could say, okay, what has it been since just this year? Or you can click on 14, 15, and 16 as those are the ones that Trump was, you know.
Okay. Yep.
You can search by words and phrases, include all fields in this text. You can do by law number. If you hear it on the radio or on the podcast or on the wherever you get your information, and they're like, oh, Bill, HR 525.
Right.
In the federal government, and each state has this as well, guys. So in the federal government, you can put that in, and it'll bring up everything about that bill that you can read through, look at summaries. You can see who voted. You can see who who brought up the bill. You can see who they got on their team, because basically somebody decides that they're going to put a bill together because of either should be their constituents request it or their donors request it. Yep. More than likely it's because their donors request it. Hopefully there are still some out there that are doing the right thing, but
hopefully.
But yeah, you can put that in. You can search everything. You can look at all the detail. You can see where it is in the process, whether it's just on the floor or if it's getting voted on, if it passed the Senate, if it passed the House, if it got vetoed. You can see everything in there. And then
and just that quick and easy, just by
yeah. And that's what
we need to be doing.
Well, right.
We need to do at least some footwork or some legwork to see who's out there, what bills are being passed, and who we think we should be voting for next.
Search congressional salary and see what comes up.
Just in the search.
But take this off so that you see all of it forever. So that it goes back, I believe, to 1973 or something. Like when you look at, the Build Back Better plan, and now they have another one out there. I mean, we're just going to keep printing money in order to pay off everybody that needs anything, and our dollar is going to be devalued and we're not going to have anything.
Yeah, and we can go into a whole conspiracy theory.
Did you find something?
Deal as to why that is.
Right.
No, but let's not spend too much time on this. We got the gist of it. We let our audience know, hey, this is how you get here.
Okay.
So
yeah. You didn't find, because there was one about congressional salaries that was in there at one point.
Yeah.
But
I'll have to look it up later. I don't want to spend too much time. They
probably call it something else.
Have so much dead air. So what about on the local level? So who's running right now? Like, so in April, I just dug that up and I know who's in my district, and you just told us how to get to in your district, like who's running and stuff.
Right.
So, but let's talk about the bigger elections coming up in November. So right now, if we want to make any change, we need to vote better, so that we can have people who are interested in the policies or putting together legislation that's truly going to benefit the American people. Right. So in order to do that, we need to know who's running. So what elections are coming up in November?
Well,
and then who is actually running?
So in November 2022, there are 469 seats in Congress. So 34 Senate seats are available, and all 435 House seats are up for election. That's on November 8th, 2022.
Okay.
And I'm getting, and then, there's another website out there called Ballot. You have to be careful of some of these websites. They are giving you information, hoping that you'll sign up with them, and then they can convince you who to vote for. Yeah. And if that's what you're looking for, that kind of information, that's fine.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be convinced. I just want the information, and then I'll decide what I want to do. So Ballotpedia.org is a good one?
Is a good one.
Okay. Because that's the one I'm on right now.
Okay.
So let's see. The candidates, official candidates. The following list includes official candidates only. Let me click on that and see what happens. So I'm trying to figure out who is up for election here in Wisconsin, so I know who to vote for.
Well, and you can go on to the state of Wisconsin has a website as well.
Okay. So it's just really a matter of going online and doing some research.
And you can do, even if you do, like, a lot of people, and me included, I don't think, like, a lot of times Wikipedia will come up first when you search something. I don't necessarily think that's a reliable source per se, because people are putting information in there, but the people that are putting information in there are using references and links to things. So if you just skip the article and go down to the references to see if there's something that specifically applies, then I think, as long as it's not a like, oh yeah, as quoted by Rolling Stone or Vox, or there are a lot of stuff out there that you just have to kind of be wary of the people that are telling you stuff, because they have a reason to tell you a certain thing.
So Ron Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And who's running against him?
Against him is Tammy Baldwin running in. Oh no, that's because we have Senate. They're the two senators. Ron Johnson. We want to keep him.
Do we want to keep him?
I don't know. I feel like
I don't know. We need to. Here's the thing. I'm not advocating that we push people down.
No.
Down people's throat. Will I vote for him? Possibly, but in order for people to understand why,
the only reason I would vote for him is because he is okay with term limits, and we need Congress people. Unfortunately, people that are in Congress are the ones that have to vote themselves out of Congress, and that's never going to happen with the current people that we have in there right now. Like Ted Cruz believes in term limits. He's like, yeah, if there were term limits and it was my time, my gig is up, then I go back into the real world. Things like that.
Okay.
The people that don't want to get elected out of their, or I shouldn't say this, because people
who are uncomfortable with being replaced are the ones that we probably should be replacing.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the thing. And I just think that you should be able to look beyond the media and look at some things that that aren't necessarily being spoon-fed to somebody higher,
Right. Because when you look at the news, the national media, the local media and stuff like that, you're being fed. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're being guided.
I think it even rolled, like we're in Wisconsin.
Right.
So I think even some of that national media rolls down because they all own the same stations and stuff.
Right.
And I remember bringing this up in another show. Remember when everything came from Associated Press?
Yeah.
As AP News, and that was where we got our news. Well, Associated Press has kept themselves pure and innocent through all this capitalism and all this other stuff going on throughout these decades. I mean, I feel like people aren't cautious enough about where they get their information, nor do they recognize. And I'm not saying that I'm not like putting people down for it, whatever. I'm just trying to hey, you guys.
Here's the thing: we're so busy. Our lives are so busy and so filled with. Let's take a young people for example, just out of high school and going to college. They're working. A lot of them are working their way through college. Mm-hmm. They're going to classes. They're studying. They're trying to carve out some me time. They're trying to carve out some friend time. Mm-hmm. And they don't have time to sit around and do the research and look these things up.
Right.
And then when you get a little bit older in your 30s and 40s, you got kids, you got soccer practice, you got baseball practice, you got dinner on the table, you got, this, that, and the other. And then by the time you get your age, it's...
Which is the same as your age, buddy. Anyway.
Sorry. Okay.
By the time
you get our age, you're just too damn tired to do anything.
Right. No. But how? Okay, that's a valid excuse. However,
it's not an excuse. I'm just saying.
Knowing how they say the older you get, the wiser you are.
Right.
Good thing I'm a little bit old. I'm a little bit wiser than you.
No, so. I'm older than you.
Damn it.
Yeah. Respect your elders.
Oh, good Lord. Anyway, knowing what you know now and thinking about how involved you were in politics in your 20s and 30s, what would you do differently?
I would definitely get more involved when I had the time to do it back then because I had less responsibilities back then, and I was able to get more involved locally back then. And so not only would I do more research, try to understand, what policies would be pushed down our throats and where the country is headed. But I would definitely go online and or pick up a book and do some research on the people that I'm voting for.
Right. Right.
It was growing up in the inner city. It was pushed down my throat all my life to vote for the Democratic Party, blindly. Just that's the party you should be voting for.
Why?
That's the party that's for the black people or for the minorities or whatever. So
and now, knowing what you know now.
Well, I never did. But I'm saying it was always a push in the inner city to do that. And knowing what I know now, I didn't do it back then, but knowing what I know now, I definitely wouldn't. I'm not saying there aren't some Democrats I wouldn't vote for.
Right.
Okay. There's it's just very far and few between because of the policies. It has nothing to do with the fact that they're Democrat. It has nothing to do with the fact that, with anything else except for their strong stance on when it comes to giving money away rather than setting up programs that are going to truly help people out of the situations that they're in.
Well, that makes some people think that's selfish. Oh, you don't want to just give your money away to somebody that needs it?
I don't see any of these rich Democrats, Pelosi, I don't see them in California. There's 75,000 homeless people in San Francisco. Now, we're not talking about the rest of California. We're talking about San Francisco. Okay? Mm-hmm. I don't see her giving any money to those people. No. She's not doing anything for them. This woman is a multi-millionaire by far. Okay?
Right. How? On a government salary. But whatever.
That's a whole nother story.
Yeah. And so, there's a group out there that totally follows Nancy Pelosi's stock position because they know that whatever she's doing it because she has insider information.
Really?
Yeah. But anyway, sorry. Keep going.
How come I wasn't smart enough to do that?
Anyway.
How do you do that anyway? How do you follow someone's portfolio?
I don't know. I've heard there are people that are smarter than me in the investment world that know what signs to look for.
So that's insider trading right there. Because someone has to be on the inside to be able to say, hey, Nancy just bought 10 shares of Pepsi.
Well, they're supposed to. And here's another thing. They're supposed to reveal it. Right. We are letting these people break rules without any consequences. Like there are things
unabated.
Yeah. Okay, well, you need to reveal I forgot to do that until like 6 months later. Now it's too late. Sorry.
Until I made billions of dollars.
Right, right. So, but there are ways to find out who the people that you are voting for, or campaigning for. Find out exactly what they're doing. I watch C-SPAN. C-SPAN, it's boring as hell, but that's where a lot of these video clips are coming from when you see, so-and-so said this about whatever. And the media is pulling little snippets of these clips out to benefit their narrative, whether it's the left or right, and taking out the context. So you don't even know half the time. Oh, that sounds good.
Did you see how they took, when Trump said that, what did he say? Putin was smart.
Oh, yes.
He said Putin is a smart man, and they took that out of context.
I know. Well,
he is a smart man.
He is a smart man.
He couldn't be in the position he's in if he wasn't smart.
You should probably know the mindset and the mentality of your enemy in order to defeat them.
He also said that if I was in office, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing right now. Right. I wouldn't have allowed it.
Okay. And there's argument there
how is it that they're buddies when he's clearly stating this is where I would have fell. He would not have been in Ukraine.
I don't know, because the media, depending on which media you listen to, that's either the brunt of the story, like that, that's it. Like, okay, well, let's get him in there to do something else then, kind of thing. I don't know. Yeah. Or it's something that is ignored or taken out of context. Yeah. But
anyway, that's neither here nor there where we're going with the show. So that's a kind of a segue. But so the main point that we're trying to drive home here today, and by talking about all this, is that we have higher gas prices.
We have
We have inflation, and it quite honestly, it doesn't matter how it came to pass. It's here.
It's here.
And now, what are we going to do about it collectively?
We have to quit saying, okay, well, Trump started it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what? If he did, how are we going to freaking fix it?
Right.
And if Trump started it, Biden sure is not stopping it.
Right.
So what are you going to do? And we can't get rid of Biden or any of those people as long as we keep the same people in Congress that have been there for years and years and years. Because they're getting the money to stay there. They're hooked on the benefits.
And that's the thing. That's the thing that the American people need to understand, is that we can't just go after the president. We cannot just change the guard every 4 years and think that America is going to change for the better for us.
No, we have to look at it locally and by state.
Everybody.
Right.
We have to look at this on a local level, Northeast Wisconsin, and then the state of Wisconsin, and then, our district, and then,
right.
The federal government. We have to continue to expand that.
Right. Because the way this works, our districts, we have representatives in each district. I'm not sure how many we have in Wisconsin. 12. Anyway, each state has a different district. These districts have leaders. These leaders go to the state capitol to say, hey, this is what my constituents, these are the people in my neighborhood are saying.
Right.
And these are the bills that I want to create for them. And then they have to get together. And then your senator and your House of Representatives, they go to Washington and they campaign for those.
Right.
So it does roll down or roll up, however you want to look at it. But the point being that you need to pay attention from all levels and not just be fighting about whether or not Donald Trump screwed up gas prices or Joe Biden is mentally inept to be able to be doing his job.
Exactly.
Whichever the case.
And so here's the deal. If you think Donald Trump screwed up, well, let's follow that back down the line. How many people voted for the policies that Donald Trump had? So if you don't like Donald Trump and you don't like his policies, well, you got to go through Congress and find out how many people in the Congress voted for for those policies, and then you have to decide to yourself, okay, how do I not vote for these people?
Right.
Because there's some Democrats that voted for his policies,
right?
Just like there's some Republicans that vote for Democratic policies.
Well, not anymore. We've created this. There seems to be this huge rift between Democrats and Republicans now, where you get. The Democrats put something on the floor and you get all Democrats saying yay and all Republicans saying nay, and you get a few stragglers, and then those stragglers get beat up on social media because we're all assholes apparently. Right. But if you're putting them there, you're putting them there in the first place,
right.
And that communication starts with your local people,
right.
And rolls up to your districts and then your state and then nationally. The fact that they boil down our national election for president of the United States down to two people at the end, well,
right.
2+ people, two people that they really pitched for,
right. At the end,
when there is such a diverse view from everyone in the country,
right.
That it's insane.
I think we should get together as a country and flip the election on its head this time, and vote for the not the lesser of the two evils, but the person that didn't get any coverage. Just for the hell of it, just everybody vote for the person, whether they're going to be right or wrong.
Oh my! All right, let's just kind of Well, and a lot of people, they're going to have political history. So any senator that you vote for, that's more than likely he or she came up through the ranks,
right? Exactly.
And they have a voting record.
Yep.
And you can research it. You can
access that on their website.
The internet is amazing. Well, for now, the internet is amazing at telling you the information you need to know, as long as you are selective about it.
Right.
I said earlier, I was joking about Rolling Stone. Don't go to Rolling Stone to get your advice on who to vote for, or what's another magazine? In Touch.
I usually go to Facebook.
To Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
To figure out who I want to vote for.
And who do you determine that by what everybody else is saying, or by what
whatever anybody else is saying on Facebook, I just listen to what they're saying, and then when they send those articles out, especially the memes, when the memes come out, those are the ones I really pay attention to.
Yes, I'm sure you and many other people out there. Oh, but that's the way they have us programmed, though.
I know.
I mean,
I'm being facetious, but
we gravitate towards the people that talk good and look good,
or the people that our friends and family like,
mm-hmm.
or friends and family continue to talk about,
right?
And
which is fine as long as the friends and family, if everybody was researching or at least taking a look at these candidates to see what they stand for outside of the little video and audio clips that are coming into our commercials, because that's going to happen again. Yeah. We all hate it. It's coming.
I'm surprised we're not seeing a bunch of it already.
Oh my! Well, well, we're local yet. After April 5th, probably. But there's billions and billions and billions of dollars being spent to elect people that don't know what the hell they're doing or have our best interests in mind, while we the taxpayers, because that's the only place that the United States gets their money from taxes, from us, from the people. The people of the United States are footing the bill for everything. I don't think a lot of people understand that.
And it keeps going up.
And it keeps going up. We are $30 trillion in debt, and they're printing more money. Guess what? When you print more money, it creates inflation. If this gets out of hand, we have no choice but to become a past superpower nation. We will be in, China's going to take over. Russia's going to take over. Probably not Russia. Russia, if they can't even keep their, never mind. So sorry for you Russian soldiers in the woods starving.
The next superpower.
China will be the next superpower. They're going to take Taiwan.
Yep.
And you know what happens if China is the next superpower? They might call out their debts. What happens if we can't pay them back? We're just going to keep printing money? No, it's going to create more inflation. It's going to screw us. We're in a downward spiral. And the only way that we can fix it right now is to vote November 8th, 2022 for people that make sense.
Right.
Not the people that are just there because our TV shows and every commercials and everything else brags about them.
No doubt.
All right. That's all I have, Mike.
I love it. No, I learned a lot. a lot. I didn't know about those websites, and it's good information to get out there to people so that they know who. I mean, like I said earlier, the main thing that we want people to do, we don't want to push you in one direction or the other. We want you to think for yourselves, and the 70% this voice that's not being heard, let's start making it heard. Let's start making it heard by voting for the right people and putting them in office.
Right. You know? Just take a little time on a Sunday morning when you get up, like, hey, what's going on? And
Right. Just like people are, the 15% on this side is out there burning buildings and tearing shit up, and we hear them. The 15% on this side is out there running up in the Capitol and tearing up the Capitol. We hear them. Well, now let's hear the 70%. Let's hear the ones that are working every day and going to school every day and don't have time for all the crap on both sides.
Right.
It's time to hear from us. I
agree. So let's pick this conversation up again next week. I'll do some research if you do some research, and we can maybe pick a topic. If we have any listeners out there that want to chime in and let us know what topic they want to hear next, that would be perfect.
Okay, just so you know, you can never be a politician.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you just pointed at me, and politicians don't point. They do this.
Oh, well, see, this. I don't plan on being a politician. I plan on being a government and
oversight
maybe
person.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah. The problem is, in order for you to get into a government position, you have to get into politics almost. Yeah. I mean, is there a way around it?
I don't know.
There's the president right there asking you. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it is. Look at that.
Yeah. I don't think Biden's taking you under his wing anytime soon to run the country for him, but
maybe change his diaper.
That was a low blow, but age limits too. Would that make us?
We should definitely do age limits.
I think there should be term limits, and
you cannot run the country if you're over 70. Done. You're out.
There's some pretty smart people until about 75, though, maybe. Or
they could be advisors.
How about? Do we have any sort of mental capability?
You can't be president until you're 35, right?
Right. Then why can you be president until you're?
So why can you be president until you're 100? You shouldn't be able to. Period.
Right.
70, I'll give you 75. Well, 75.
All right.
That's 75. It. You're out of office. You're done. You're gone.
Yeah. Everybody else has got to retire.
Go freaking play golf and leave us alone.
Right.
Okay. Because by that time you don't even know what's happening with the younger generation anyway.
Well, right.
You're so out of touch with the nation and the world and what's really going on with the lay people. You've made so much money in politics. You're so far removed. There are. I'll bring this down to layman's terms. There are rappers, okay, who can no longer rap about the streets because they're not in the streets anymore.
Right. Right.
They're living in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
They're
if
living
you're
in
rapping
the Hamptons.
Yeah. That's
What are they going to rap about? Oh, I got too much sand in my toes this morning.
Yeah. Their gold necklaces and their yachts and stuff.
You know?
They're still out there.
When you get so far removed from the situation, it's hard for you to really have compassion or understanding of what's really happening in the street.
Right.
So, on that note,
I'm Amy Alexander.
And I'm Mike Sewell.
Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Sorry.
No doubt.
Comment. But do them all. We'll see you guys next week.
No doubt.